Hi, you're watching Royal Stag Barrel Select Large Short Films, Perfect Strokes Season 2. Today, my guest is Siddharth Anand. Sid, welcome to Perfect Strokes.
Thank you.
You are, of course, just coming off a 300 crore blockbuster named War, which was also one of my favorite films of last year.
Oh, thank you.
I've heard a lot of people in the film industry say that failure teaches you a lot. What does success teach you?
Success actually makes you more humble.
Really?
Yeah, at least in my case. And failure is something that I take in my stride. Honestly, I can't really. I mean, if I look back at my career, I've been very, 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 very blessed because the worst that a film of mine has fared has been average. So I'm one of those rare people who I've yet not faced a flop.
Correct?
Yet in my 6 films. But what happens is when I get an average in against my film, which I've been very, very confident of, it throws me into introspective mode, introspection mode. So what happens is that let's take the case of Bang Bang.
Yeah.
That's a film that I was supremely confident of, only because I had a great cast.
Right? You did.
So I
You
started
couldn't
off.
get prettier than that.
Yeah, and in fact, when I actually got Hrithik and Katrina on board, they were at their peak. Hrithik was coming off Agnipath, Krish, and Zindagi. So he was at his peak of stardom. Katrina had just done Dhoom 3, Ek Tha Tiger. So she was also at her peak, and that combination was sought after. So I thought nothing can go wrong. I mean, I have it all.
Yeah.
I have a fun remake. I have great production values. I've got good songs and a great cast. That's what makes a film. There it hit me. That hit me because it did numbers that I was disappointed with. I had far greater expectations, although again it got an average or a semi-hit status with the numbers. It did fairly decent numbers in India, but that was not my expectation from it.
Yeah.
That is when I went into introspection mode. What does a commercial film? I'm not saying I'm going to make a film which is going to change minds and lives and your thinking. I'm not there for that. I'm purely there to make films that entertain you and give you a sense of a ride. I'm that filmmaker.
You're very clear on that.
Very clear, unabashed. I want you to come for a ride. Sit back, get your popcorn, enjoy yourself, and go back home and don't think about my film.
Right.
Don't think about my film.
I've just given you a good time.
Yeah, just enjoy yourself and go back. Have a good meal and go back. When you go to a restaurant, you expect a good meal. It shouldn't change your life. That meal can't change your life. So I'm like that. I'm akin to that. So in that, I realized that I need to give them a little bit more. And that little bit more is the main ingredient actually of a film, that is the page. So I went back to that. Fortunately, getting a cast by God's grace has not been really tough for me in my life, in my career, getting a big star. So I said, okay, let's take that for granted. Now let me work on the other side, is get everything right on paper. So if I'm making an action film, what all do I need to engage the audience with apart from the action? Again, take the action for granted. Is a bit of a story, conflict, some drama, and I try my best to get a little twist in the film. I said, ये सब डाल दो और ये actors अच्छे ले आओ, make it good looking, give them locations they haven't seen, give them songs, then you have an entertaining film. That's the entertaining formula. So I worked very, 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 very hard on the script of War till a point that I had to be thrown off the room. That okay, bas ho gaya, the script is done, and I kept working even while I'm at shoot.
Really?
So yeah, so I'm very, very evolved that way. Post that, I think a lot of the success of War does go to the average status of Bang Bang. And then when I went back with it to Hrithik, I think it surprised everybody. Or Adi also, when I went to him with this story, and he was also very taken aback.
Tell me, your career is very interesting. So you said, of course, 6 films, starting with Salam Namaste when you're only 27 years
Yes.
old. You do romantic films for a while. You do Tararam Pam, you do Bachna Sino, you do Anjana Anjani. And then you switch tracks with Bang Bang to this very stylized action. How did that happen?
Oh, very interesting. I had no plans. In fact, it's very strange. I was working on Anjana Anjani in one of the prep schedules in between, and Ranbir was in office, and I happened to show him a trailer of a film called Night and Day, which is about to release. And I showed him, man, look at this film. What an entertaining look! Look at what they do with their the canvas. They get, look at the action and Tom Cruise and superstars. It's super, very excited with Night and Day. Okay, out. Release Anjan Anjani. A year later, Fox reaches out to me with the remake of Night and Day. They reach out to me and I'm like surprised.
Yeah.
Because I actually wanted to go to them for the remake rights of 500 Days of Summer. That's an indie film that they made.
Correct.
And I loved the idea of that film. I said that's very, it can really adapt to a nice quirky Hindi film. So I was in the mood of that, of doing that. Then they said, okay, here's 500 Days of Summer, but here why don't you try this also?
So they came to you.
They came to me. So I should give credit to them for thinking that I can make an action film. And I said, why not? Yeah. Actually, I remember the trailer was really interesting, but the film wasn't good. So I remember the trailer being good. So what I said is, I don't want the film. What I want from you is I want all the drafts of Night and Day. So I got all the drafts that they wrote. So what was made was the 17th draft. And from draft 12 onwards, Tom Cruise came into it, and then he was part of draft 12 to draft 17. But I got all the drafts earlier, which had really quirky moments in it, which excited me. Then I got in Sujoy Ghosh and Suresh Nair to write it with me. And then we made a fun script, lighthearted.
But how did you get then hooked to action? Because after that, you just made action.
So, it's very strange because I want to make a love story. I really want to make a love story. I think I love making romantic comedies. I love the idea of a slice of life, human emotion, kind of backed with, again, my kind of scale and music and costumes and everything. There's a nice human touch to it. It was a dynamic that is very relatable, which was a strength of Salam Namaste, which I'll get into at some point, why I did that. But I ran out of conflicts. I ran out of conflicts between a couple.
Which is obviously the problem facing all romance now, because nobody knows what the opposition is.
Yeah. So what happens is that also from a point of view that we've explored every conflict in a love story on our Hindi screen.
Yeah.
We've explored everything from being rich and poor to being different castes, to having internal conflicts, to having issues as attitude issues, whether it's misunderstandings like in Chalte Chalte and films like that.
Yeah.
So you've delved into everything. Satya has had that. Parental opposition in DDLJ. So what do you do in a love story now? What do you do? There is no conflict left. So a love story, a film works only on its conflict. So if everything is good, they should just get together and that's the end of the film.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so there is no conflict. I can't think of it.
Yeah.
So I can't think of it. I mean, I pray to everybody and request everybody if you can come up with something. I want to make one.
Even I want to see one.
It's so much fun to watch one.
Yeah, they are.
But all I can think of is guns and action right now.
So you're hooked to action.
Yeah, totally.
Tell me about this working with stars. I mean, you've worked with stars throughout your career, from the first to War. What is the secret to handling stars?
So a lot of, for aspiring directors, I want to tell them that a lot of a director's job is managing people. You may think it's telling what a shot is or telling what costume you should wear, but it's also managing people, it's managing egos, knowing what's the best I can take out of my art director, knowing his limitation, but what I want, or the actor, what mood he is in. So a lot of it is that. And actor handling is very tough because they are a different breed.
Yeah.
Actors are a different breed. Somewhere a little removed from reality.
Of course. Just a little.
Just a little removed from reality. So you have to just blend in there.
Blend into their reality.
Yeah, blend into their reality for that moment and not get swayed yourself. And then you have to come back to your being a technician.
Okay, tell me, don't give me names, but tell me of a situation you faced and how you dealt with it.
I mean, different actors have different, what do you call that? Eccentricities.
Sure.
I mean, like early in my career with Saif, it used to be, how do I get him to my shoot? I actually had to call his boy Abdul and wake him up. Has he woken up? So I had to do that. And he used to stay in Lokhandwala and we used to shoot in Yashraj. So I had to reach the set and I had someone like Binod Da who used to light. So I knew if I'm giving him a shot to light, I'll take that much time.
Correct.
I should call Abdul now, wake him up. Has he woken up? Have you given him his tea? What is happening? I have to do that. But his quality is that after he comes to your set, he's all yours.
Right.
He's incredible. Conversely, fun. This is the fun thing.
Yeah.
With Abhishek, I shot with him in the same film. We were shooting the climax of this film, and we were on a set in Andheri. And I reached my studio at 7:30. Abhishek was there before me.
Right. It's the dad's genes.
So so he was there before me. I'm coming to the punchline.
Huh.
He was there before me. Then I had to reach there, give the shot, and then call Saif go out. That was my job. So he's there before me in his van.
Right.
He comes to set, but now to get him to act is a task. Because he's only talking. He and Preeti can talk endlessly. So I'm just standing in front of the camera and waiting for them to finish talking. And Saif is saying, what do I do? So Saif, once he gets on set, he's all yours. You have to get him on set. Abhishek comes on set, but to get him to start is another task.
Tell me, at that moment, when you have this shot in your head, your actors are there, but they're not doing what you want them to do. How do you keep your vision, what you want, and how do you extract it?
Honestly, I've been blessed to have great actors. And when people tell me that, like sometimes Adi does tell me, why don't you always pad yourself with good actors as your supporting cast, because they're a great asset. I haven't really faced that because in my main leads is what I'm saying. They're great actors and they are get into the film and do their own interpretation of that, which is very exciting for a director, because you have one perspective of how you see it and they bring in a perspective. But the power of a director is such that you have the power to veto. So always take suggestions, which I do. I can always say no at the end of it, and they agree to it. Sometimes when I get stuck, I have this quirk, which happened a lot with Ranbir, is where I used to tell him to imitate me, and it became a joke. Because if I tell him some expression and he would not get it, so I would tell him, just copy this, and he would do that, and he would make fun of it after that, but he would do it. So I would just tell him, imitate me.
You enact your scenes?
Act it out sometimes when they don't get it. Yeah, I've never had to do it with a lot of people, but sometimes it was fun with Ranbir. Ranbir has been a friend also.
Yeah.
So we have.
You have that rapport. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, Sid, you've described yourself as a hero's director, like you said, in the way Yashji was a heroine's director.
Yeah.
Right? And of course, after seeing Hrithik's entry in War, we completely believe that you are a hero's director. Tell me about designing that. How do you decide the frames? How do you decide what your actor should look like and how you'll present him?
There's no set formula to that. Hrithik, you really don't have to do much with Hrithik. He does most of the job for you. He knows his makeup, he knows his hair, he knows his lighting, he knows where he needs that bounce. He knows everything. You really don't need to do much.
He just sets it all up and walks in.
Honestly, I can't take credit for it. He knows it all. All you have to do is just give him that platform to do it. So it's even if you take the much talked about Hrithik's entry, it was nothing on paper.
That's right. What is
nothing.
it? He's getting out of a helicopter. That's it.
That was on paper.
Huh.
So that's it. So what do I do with it? I knew that, okay, this is the first time I want to introduce him. So there's a little bit of story to that also, because Hrithik's introduction actually happens in the beginning of the film.
Correct.
The first scene of the film.
Yeah.
But I was certain I didn't want to show Hrithik in that. I wanted to shoot it in a way where you only see glimpses of his eyes, his lips, his fingers, and then his walk. But in his walk, I see complete Hrithik, but I've kept him out focus. So his head is there walking with that hell behind, but he's out focus. So there was a plan that I didn't want to show Hrithik in the beginning of the film. I want to showcase him at that point in time through Tiger's eyes. So he comes out of a helicopter. Great. How do you make it larger than life? Yeah. So that's the key. Without having anything on paper to help you. You're armed with nothing but just the actor, and there was no helicopter also. It was
what did he get out of?
It was a wooden frame. That entire chopper is a CG chopper. I wish I could share the making of that. He's walked out of a wooden frame.
Amazing.
It's a wooden frame.
With all that attitude.
Yes. So I've kept the camera here and I've made Hrithik enter like this and gone with him. It's the chopper's been created. And then and in fact, the fun part of it is the main shot of his entry that we celebrate is his arms and him looking like this. That was the last shot of the day. After we've called pack up, is I've chased the sun. The sun has set behind a mountain, And I have changed. I said, let's take one more shot, and I have moved the green screen myself till a part where the sun is falling that side. The sun is set over here, but there's rays of sun are there.
Correct.
So I have run with the green screen portrait. They come here, and just taken the steady cam. Just do one more walk for me, and just look over here in the sun. Look at the sun. So the lighting of that shot is very different from the rest of the thing.
Right.
So I just knew one thing is missing in this. After calling Packer, I knew that one shot is missing.
So it's your instinct.
It's all instinct. That one thing is missing of just a profile looking like this, and that became the main shot of his entry. So it's just instinct. So you can't have a formula to it. We called pack up.
Right.
We've called pack up. Lights are being.
You have to create right there.
Yeah, you need to know it. That okay, have I got something? Have I got that moment?
Yeah.
How do I do it? It's all about that.
Okay, why don't you have the same affection for women?
Okay, yeah, that's.
I want to see a female war version. Yeah?
No, but you know what I do in my films? What is very consistent is I have very, very strong female parts. Very, very strong female parts in all my films. That has been consistent. It comes from actually my mom and my wife. I think they're very, very strong personalities. So that reflects in them. And somewhere my heroes depend a lot on them, whether it was in Salam Namaste or Tara Rampam, Bachna Hai Hasino, Anjana Anjani. The women are very, very strong characters. So yeah, that's what I do. I mean, they're very happy with me. Why are you saying that? That I don't do much for them.
I just want you to frame a woman like you framed him.
Oh, I don't? Really? Okay, I'm going to give it some thought.
Yeah, please.
Really?
Please.
Okay, that's food for thought.
Sid, talk to me about the writing process. You've written most of your films.
Yeah.
You said for War, you had written it completely and got the beat sheet in place before you took it to Adi. So, what is this beat sheet?
Beat sheet is basically how a scene flows into the next scene. What are the beats of the scene, of the film? So that's a beat sheet. It's in brevity, basically. And then I get a screenplay writer to expand it. So I can finish a beat sheet narration of War in say 15 minutes. But I have to narrate the script to you, I'll take an hour and a half. So that's what the beat sheet is.
Okay. So it's like a sort of concise version of when you feel the high, when the low, that kind of thing.
What the scene entails, what the thrust of that scene is.
Okay.
So for example, there's a scene where Ritik, after the Bashir mission, Ritik calls him into his room at night and tells him that you can't be a part of my team. So the beat sheet of that will be Ritik calls, Kabir calls Khalid and tells him he can't be part of the team because he has a defect in his right peripheral vision.
Right.
That's the beat sheet.
That's it.
And but Khalid wins him over by saying how that injury was caused and how determined his mother and he are to clear their father's name. That's the beat sheet. Then he expands it with dialogues and everything.
So do you write every day? What is the process?
My process actually, like I said, changed post Bang Bang. What I did is I used to watch a lot. What I started doing post Bang Bang is I started reading a lot. So that opened up
Reading what?
books, fiction.
Okay.
A lot of fiction fiction novels of great entertaining thriller writers. I started doing that. I traveled a lot, so as a pastime at airports and in flights, I started reading and that hooked me on. And I credit a lot of War to that, and a lot of my thinking and a lot of what I'm doing right now to that. So that's where the change happened. So I started reading and I look for inspiration more in books than in films because films are terrible nowadays. Horrible writing in films. Whatever genre it is, films are going through a major bankruptcy of ideas and novelty. All the best writing is in shows.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm starting. I started reading a lot, and that has opened up your ideas of conflict, of characters, of antagonists. They're great ideas. So that's.
Of course, your grandfather, Indra Anand, was a prolific writer. Your father was a producer. Your uncles are Tinu Anand, the late Mukul Anand. You've grown up steeped in film.
Yeah.
How has that shaped you as a filmmaker?
That has actually prepared me for being a part of the industry, I say. Because what happens is that for someone like me, for example, I became a director at 25. My film released when I was close to 26 and a half. There's a lot of, and I got success. So that can really throw you off.
Yeah.
So what that did is grounded me. So when I actually got married also. I got married to a girl who's from South Bombay. Her parents were in a completely different business line. But she was an assistant director in Yash Raj. So we met on the sets. So when we got married, I told her, because she started making a lot of friends in the industry, and I told her that one thing is that don't get emotionally involved with any friendship here. It is all transitionally.
You're a realist about it.
Absolutely. I really don't have much friends. I don't invest in friendship in the industry. I know your friends and acquaintances for that film. When that film is over, that friendship takes a backseat because you make new friends in the next film. So that's what prepared me as a filmmaker, not to take success lightly and not to take failure too seriously. Yeah.
Did it in any way shape your vision as an artist? Did you get influenced by things that you saw as a child or the movies you saw as a child?
I grew up on Subhash Ghai. I'm a huge fan of Subhash Ghai.
Right.
So that's my school actually. So that's what shaped me as a mindset for filmmaking. So I'm obviously not from the Gurudutt and Bimal Roy era.
Yeah.
But obviously they're great works. Raj Kapoor has been more of an influence on me. Raj Kapoor, Manmohan Desai, and Subhash Ghai. And I try to imbibe bits of them, whether it's my background score or in drama, or how they treat scenes.
Tell me about the music. Your films always have wonderful music, mostly done by Vishal Shekhar.
All done.
All done? Is it all
done.
6 films?
I'm the only idiot who works with them. I keep telling them.
You know, Khuda Jaane is one of my favorite songs of all time. I love that song. How do you create music?
I work very, very hard on my music. I think it's
But musical sense pehle se thi, it was always there.
Like I said, my influences are Subhash Ghai, Raj Kapoor. They have not made a bad song in their life.
Correct.
So
Correct.
it's that background score. I give a lot of importance to music, and I'm like a tyrant when it comes to music. And Vishal Shekhar will agree and abuse me. That's why when I make my music, I have a mandate that they can't work on any other film till they don't deliver my music. So that's a mandate. So they dread the day I come to them and tell them I'm starting a film. So it's
and they adhere to this? They don't do any
choice. They have no choice. It's a blackout because my process of music is such. I'll explain it to you. I'm really tyrant. I park myself in the studio and now I work all day on the music with them. All day. Think. Play anything to me. And they'll play things to me and I'll like one note and I'll put it aside. Now play another song. Okay, go back, come back and play me. I like something else. So I'll make a mishran of different songs and make one song. Always. So what happens is, I'll explain to you why I say don't work on other films. So I will motivate them. I will get their brain functioning faster and harder. And if they're working on another film and they've not given me anything all day, they go home, their mind is still working on the songs, and they'll come up with this thing and put it down, and next day somebody else has come, they'll give it to them.
Right.
So that next day, what you do is mine. I have motivated you. I have charged you yesterday. So what you get the next day is mine.
Put in the scenes.
Yes, it's my song. You can't give it to anybody else.
Correct.
So that's why whatever you work on overnight also is mine. So that's how I don't allow them to work on any other thing. And it's it's also you need a good ear for music. So it happened just a couple of days ago where somebody asked me this and I played them a song that I rejected for Ghunguru. So you want to know how tough it is, no? Music? Now hear this song. It's atrocious. It's atrocious. So understand what all I have to go through to find that song. So I was asking the guy because who came to me is a new filmmaker. I said, how do you have the guts to tell Vishal and Shekhar, I don't like the song what you made, give me another one.
Right.
They're very, very strong-headed people.
Correct.
Okay. So
and they're very successful.
Very successful. And if they're giving a song that we like this song, take it. How do you tell them, no, I don't like this song, give me something else?
Correct.
That's what I have to do. I have to tell them. I use the word gobar. I said, this song is gobar. So I don't want it. So now come up with something else. So I'm very...
I have never heard that before.
Okay, you must ask them.
That's a first. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And they take the criticism and go back.
I'm very battamiz and I'm very selfish about my work. Very selfish. Whoever it is, I'm very selfish about my film. A film is beyond, above everything. After that, I'll hug you and kiss you and do all that.
Yeah.
But while we are working, I want the best out of you. I'm very selfish. I want your best. Why am I taking you? And if I'm taking you, this time I own.
Yeah.
This time when you're working is mine.
Fair enough.
So I will take out the best from you. So I'm like that. I'm a tyrant when it comes to music. Really bad.
Tell me, you didn't have any formal training. You didn't go to a film school. You worked with Rahul Ravel. You worked with Kunal Kohli. I want you to tell aspiring filmmakers out there that, what is the key? How do you, first of all, break into this business? And once you're in, how do you retain the integrity that you came in with?
So, people think that to become a director, you need to become an assistant director and learn the tropes there and then write a script and become a director. It's rubbish.
Really?
I was an assistant director. So being an assistant director is nothing of a job that a director does. Is no connection with the director's job. You are a slave. There's no other word to describe an AD, but he's a slave. So there's no way that you can be an AD and learn what it is to be a director. All you get is an opportunity to stand behind the camera and watch an actor act at that moment while the camera is rolling. As soon as it's cut, you're going and doing something else. Right. While the director is actually directing the film and telling the actor or the cameraman what to do. So, yes, you need to go to a film school if you want to learn the tropes. I didn't. There are a lot of things that I still don't know, technically, but that's not my job. That's not my job. My job is also not to go and write a script. My job is just to get a script, like it, and make it. It's not that to go find a story and start writing it and then go to an actor's door and ring the bell, please hear my script. That's not a director's job. But we have to do all that.
Yeah.
So a director's job in India is far more than just directing a film.
Absolutely.
It's creating content, it's creating stories, which there's no director over there who does that.
Yeah.
They get the scripts by their agents and they just go through them and say, okay, this is rubbish, give me another one.
It's very compartmentalized.
Yeah.
No, here it's not.
It's very professional.
Yeah, it's
so
very
here,
professional.
after each film, I have to go back and think, I need to get a story. What do I make next? Oh, will an actor do this story? That's what the director does.
But if you're saying that it's AD is not the route, then what does a new person do?
There is no other choice. I think it's about going to a film school, getting your basic knowledge of what it is. Filmmaking is a lot about instinct. Yeah. It's a lot about instinct. Like, I can't decide to become a painter. I can't go to a school and learn painting and become an artist. It has to be from within. Yeah. Yes, I can learn to become an editor. I can learn to become a choreographer. I can learn to become... I don't think you can learn to become a musician also. It has to be from within. You can have some inherent talent and then you can hone it to learn the skill of it. But to be a director is to be an artist. It has to be from within. You have to be a storyteller. A director is all about, if you have to tell me a story, how interestingly you can tell me that story. That's how interesting a director can be, if you can hold a conversation. That is a director. Well, actually, a lot of directors are actually introverts also who really can't hold a conversation.
Yeah.
Isn't that true?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that also goes out of the window.
तो क्या करें?
Exactly. I don't know, man. It's 98% luck, bro. Go study here. Become a CA. Don't come here. I don't want competition.
Sid, thank you so much. Such a pleasure to chat with you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.